Hi! Now, around Christmas time, many of us, if not all of us, have got at least one box of these sort of chocolates lying around that we all quickly gobble up, and then we're left with this handy little plastic box, which unfortunately we tend to just dispose of. So what I've decided to do is hopefully turn this little box into a little jewellery box with a tortoiseshell effect on it. So what I've already done is I've got one of the little plastic boxes and it is now yellow. So what I did first of all is I gave the plastic box a coat of this Bin primer, which is really good at sticking to plastic. And the reason why I've chose this particular primer over other primers that you could use on plastic is it's very thin, so enough the camera can pick this up. You get very watery, which means when you apply it to the plastic, it doesn't leave many brush marks, which is brilliant. So it's had a coat of the Bin first, and then I've followed up and given it a coat of this yellow oil-based eggshell paint, sort of a custard yellow colour, and this particular one is BS 10E50. If you want to go out and buy it, yes, BS 10E50. So now we've got a little plastic box and it's all ready for doing the tortoiseshell effect on. So we'll get cracking in a minute. Okay, so I'm ready to start the tortoiseshell effect now on the old chocolate box. So what I've done is I've got an upside down butter tub here, which I found. The lid sits nicely on there so I can work on it and get round the whole lid like that. Right, so what I've done is I've mixed up in this jar here a solution of boiled linseed oil and a dash of white spirit to make it more fluid. So that's what I've got in this little jar at the moment. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this little brush and I'm going to brush the solution of boiled linseed oil and white spirit over the lid first of all, and that gives a solution for the other colours just to slide over and blend over the surface. So it's a little bit of the solution on the brush, brush it all around the lid. You don't want too much of this, just enough to make it wet so that the other paints can float over the surface. Make sure I've got no misses, hopefully. There we go, so it's all nicely coated with the boiled oil solution. Now, if the camera can see this, now what I've done in these trays here is I've mixed up a solution in this one, white spirit, oil scumble, so it's white spirit, oil scumble and raw sienna artist oil colour. Okay, so in this one here it's got a bit of white spirit, the scumble and the raw sienna, and in this one it's just the scumble and the raw sienna, because I want this one to be slightly thicker. Okay, so that was far more fluid than this one. Okay, so we've got the raw sienna, the scumble, ready to do the first effect on the box. And load the brush up. It's all going to go at a slight angle like this. And just shimmy it around, get it to get over the sides like this. There we go. Alright. So I sort of dab it and brush it just to distribute this raw sienna over the surface. Like that. Okay, so that's the first part done. Now I'm going to be using the thicker solution, which is just the oil scumble with the raw sienna oil colour. So hopefully this will come out a bit darker than the first one. I'm going to introduce this, a slightly darker effect. Just dab this around. To get some real darker highlights. So if my head's getting in the way here, over here. Good. It's starting to already get that sort of little tortoiseshell look to it already, which is good. There we go. It's a bit more there, it's a bit lighter. Touch more there to even the colour around out. That's it, so that'll do for the raw sienna. Now I'm going to be using the burnt umber, which is a much darker colour, this one, but it's still artist oil colour. I've mixed it up in here, so this is the burnt umber, a bit of the scumble and a little dash of white spirit. And this time I'm going to be using a little artist brush to apply it and not a Fitch. But by the way, those Fitches that I was using, they're size 6. Size 6, those Fitches. And what I'll be doing is all the tools and materials I'm using to do this, I will put in the link in the description box. Okay. So with this I'm going to be doing little lines, I'm doing a little roll with the brush to add darker highlights. Whoops. Like this. Give a little roll to get darker areas, like that. Till I put that board down, I might have been in trouble. Right. The edges. Like that. Roll. I do quite enjoy doing this. A bit different than the usual painting and decorating that we're normally involved with. Really there, I think. Darken up a bit. Turn the edge. Like that. Okay. Right, let's move this out of the way so you can see a bit better. Okay, so that's that done. Now what I'm going to do now is I'm going to soften it all very gently with this brush here. And that's a badger hair softener brush. They come in different sizes. This is a very small 1-inch badger hair softener here. So it's got to be something very soft and smooth to do this next process. A normal paintbrush will just scratch it all and it won't look right at all. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to very gently dust the surface with this. It's very gentle with the tips of the brush. Just to blur it in a bit. Just from the very tips of the brush, as you can see. Just to blur those colours together. So this is really the tricky part, because you don't want to overdo this. Just very gently, from the edge of this brush, to blur those colours in. Right, and last of all, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the burnt umber, and I'm just going to give it a little tap just to add some darker highlights just here and there. I do. Give that a final soften. There we go. There we go, that looks pretty good, I think. It's quite natural if I can just turn it around a bit so the camera can pick it up. So that's the tortoiseshell effect done on the top of the box. So now what I need to do is to do it around the edges of this. So I'm going to carry on and do that now, and when it's done, we'll come back and have a look at it. Hi, well that's the old tortoiseshell chocolate box all finished now, so if the camera wants to do a little scan over it, see a bit more of the detail here. You might be able to see it's looking quite shiny now, and that's because when it was finished, I had to leave the oil-based tortoiseshell effect about a week to dry, then I gave it one coat of oil-based gloss varnish, which makes it all look nice and shiny. And what I've also done is I glued on a gold metal decorative piece there, which I'll also include on my links if you would like to use one of those to give it a bit more interest. And if you want to see the back, and what I've also done to make it look more like a jewellery box is I've lined it with some of that self-adhesive felt that you can buy to make it look a bit more professional, and it comes on little sheets like this, which is quite cheap. You just cut it to size and stick it into the box. So I think it looks quite a nice tortoiseshell jewellery box now. Also put some felt underneath, don't know if I've already showed you that. So I hope you found this video useful, and if you have, why not subscribe to my channel so you can stay up to date with all my latest videos.